Hello, hello. My name is Deanna Moore, and today we are going to be talking about the number one mind trap that is messing up your life, and you probably don't even know it. Every human alive has this mind trap, and by being able to recognize it, that is how you fix it, and that is how you control it. This mind trap is called confirmation bias. So maybe you've heard of this term before. I know a lot of times I've heard that term before in the context of religion perhaps, where confirmation bias basically means that somebody is only paying attention to information that fits their frame of mind at the time. This is why somebody can have a belief, let's say a political belief, for example. And no matter how much you present that person with the opposing argument, opposing facts, they're completely blind to it. We dismiss facts that don't fit with our belief set. This is called confirmation bias. So, politics, religion, these are like these broad topics. But the truth is, you are suffering from confirmation bias every second with every thought that you have in your head. Now, maybe confirmation bias is a good thing. Maybe it's not a good thing, though. And being able to determine where confirmation bias is hindering you is how you can start to change it so that you can change your life. So, we're going to start with our beliefs. When you believe something, well, first of all, when I ask somebody that I'm coaching, say I'm coaching about abundance or I'm coaching about money, and I'll say, "What are your beliefs about money?" They'll say, "Well, it's hard to make money." And by the way, that's not a belief, that's a fact. Okay, wait a second. That person is suffering from confirmation bias. Now, I'm going to explain that in a second, but I'm going to give you a couple of other examples. So maybe another person will say, "It takes a long time to get yourself set up right." Or if you don't know enough people, it's hard to start out a business. And then they'll say, "But those aren't my beliefs, those are facts." So here's your first tip. I want you to write down what facts you have going on in your head. Maybe there's other things like it's hard to be self employed, or the economy makes it impossible to get ahead. Those facts are beliefs. Now, let me explain a little bit here about how confirmation bias works. It is said, that the human brain receives approximately 11 million bits of data per second. Now, there are even other experts that say that that's as much as 20 million. So we've got this massive funnel of information that's coming into our brains from 11 million up to 20 million bits of data per second. And it's such a massive amount of information that there is no way we can possibly process all of that data. So we have a filtering system. And the filtering system, we could call it the unconscious mind. It processes approximately 40,000 bits of information per second. So we go from 11 million down to 40,000. And then we're consciously aware of up to 40 pieces of information. So we go 11 million, 40,000 to 40. Okay. How does your brain choose which 40,000 bits of information to pick out of 11 million? This is confirmation bias. This is where our beliefs come into play. Our brain looks at what our beliefs are, picks the information that supports our beliefs, and hands it to us on a silver platter. And then, so we're confirming our own beliefs. When our belief is it's hard to make money, and then our brain pulls the facts, pulls the data that matches that and gives it to us, our belief then becomes a fact in our head. It becomes reality. Okay. This then becomes a vicious cycle. This is a vicious circle because we believe something and now we have the proof. So, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? When I ask somebody then to challenge that fact or to challenge their belief, they'll argue that just a little bit. And they'll say, but wait a second, the economy is terrible. Or, the world is doomed. Everything is bad. And here's all the proof. Here's all the proof that I'm right. What about the other 10,960,000 bits of data that we dismissed? You see, we have cherry picked the proof. The brain does this, though. I'm going to justify the brain here for a second because we actually need confirmation bias to keep us from being wishy washy. For example, when a child is learning, and growing, they might form a belief or they're told fire is dangerous, fire is hot. And so confirmation bias then protects that belief so that the child isn't constantly going, is it hot? I don't know. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Confirmation bias gives us a foundation so that we can keep our beliefs intact and build on those. So while confirmation bias has its purpose, we want to be very cautious because when we don't challenge our beliefs, when we don't challenge facts, we may be missing other facts. And challenging our beliefs is what allows us to learn and it's what allows us to grow. It's the foundation for improvement. If we constantly believed I'm not worthy, or it's work is hard, or life is hard, remember, your brain is constantly going to give you the proof that you're right. This is confirmation bias. So when I'm working with somebody on manifesting, sometimes they'll have a hard time with this because when the steps to manifesting are creating new beliefs and then embracing the emotion and embracing the energies of what it's like to have that to be true. For example, I'm abundant. I am money. And then when you feel that feeling, yeah, a lot of times the person will say, yeah, but that's a lie. I've got $12 in my bank account. I'm lying. Okay. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. But understanding that the way manifesting works for you positively means that there are 100% ideas in your head that you have proof for that you need to challenge in order to change. Here's one of the easiest ways that you can do that. So let's say that your belief is life is hard. Okay. All right. Okay. Life is hard. You have the proof. Check. Got it. Understand that you are ignoring 10,960,000 bits of data per second. Ask yourself, does everyone in the universe believe that life is hard? Everyone, hands down, that successful person over there, that optimistic person over there, that lucky person over there, do they believe that life is hard? That lucky, successful person over there, I guarantee you, if you say, well, life is hard, everything is hard, they're going to look at you like you're crazy because their brain, their beliefs are probably something like, I love life. Everything flows naturally to me. Everything is easy. Everything works out perfectly. I can make it rain money. They have those kind of beliefs. And what does their brain do? It pulls out the information and it proves them right. So when you come to them and you say, no, life is hard, they go, what are you talking about? That's a terrible way to believe. That's a terrible way to walk around life. And you're like, but yeah, it's true for you. So here's the next question that you want to ask yourself. Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be rich? Do you want to be right? Or do you want to be successful? Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy and healthy? Do you want to grow? In order to grow, that automatically means you are going to have to challenge every thought in your head, even if you're 100% convinced that they're true, because your brain is tricking you. This is a mind trap. Now, maybe you believe things like, my life is easy. Everything's always been easy for me. Yes, exactly. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want to program yourself to sort for the proof in other categories of your life. Because you see, confirmation bias isn't always bad. Like I said, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. When it's working for you, excellent. This is why it's working for you. So now start to identify the areas that are no good for you, that are detrimental to your life. And we start to challenge that. And that's what starts allowing your brain to sort for new information. So your belief is life is hard. The first question or the first tip is recognizing how much information that you're ignoring. The next thing is, does everybody believe that? What about that person? What about that person? What about that person? The next thing that you start asking yourself so that you can start to shift this belief is, what if I'm wrong? What if that's not true? What if I believed something else? What would start to shift for me? How would my life be different? With this specific example, life is hard. What if you believed that life was easy? Wow. And now your brain just went, what if I believed that life was easy? Can you already see how your brain would start picking different pieces of information? Because the confirmation bias puts blinders on us. Maybe you've lost your keys before. Have you ever spent 4 hours looking for your keys only to find that they've been on the table right in front of you all along? Well, when you believe life is hard, life could be easy and there could be something easy right in front of you and you won't see it. Or if you do see it, you'll say, oh, that's too good to be true. You'll be suspicious because your brain is feeding you your own proof. Okay. I would love for you to leave some comments here. I would love to hear your thoughts on this because I want some challenges here. I want to tell me something that I can make the next video on so that I can challenge the next video. If you haven't already, please, please, please subscribe. Please leave some comments. I love feedback and I will answer every single one of your comments. Okay, I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.